Okay, I'm pretty sure you guys have heard the news about the PlayStation 5 possibly being Sony's last gaming console ever. On one hand, that's pretty cool, especially considering the fact that, Sony has been producing game consoles since the early 90s. I believe the PS1 came out back in 1994, the PS2 came out in the year 2000. That so happened to be Sony's best selling game system ever. The PlayStation 3, even though it didn't sell as much as the PS2, was still really successful. The PlayStation 4 was without a doubt the best selling game console of the teens decade. And as far as the PlayStation 5 is concerned, it seemed like Sony is making the same mistake with the PlayStation 5 that they made with the PlayStation 3 back in 2006 when it was first released during the latter part of that year, because the price tag for the PlayStation 3 was higher than that of the PlayStation 2. And because of that, basically it didn't sell as much as its competitor in Nintendo that had the Wii console. And the Wii console, I believe, sold more than the PlayStation 3. I believe it sold over 101 million units worldwide. I don't remember exactly what the PlayStation 3 sold worldwide. I believe it was at least 80 million worldwide, but it didn't sell as much as the Wii console. And a lot of people blame high pricing, the fact that the backwards compatibility on the PlayStation 3 was limited depending on which model you had or which version of the PlayStation 3 you had. And a lot of people may see this as a mistake, having the PlayStation 5 being priced more than the PlayStation 4. But at the same time, if the PlayStation 5 is indeed Sony's last game console, then it probably makes sense for it to be priced as high as it is, especially considering the fact that we have more added features on the PlayStation 5 than we did with the PlayStation 4. And not only that, for the most part, the landscape of gaming has evolved a lot, especially throughout this past decade, the teens decade. A lot of people are focusing more on streaming and cloud based services that are more convenient. You have more companies catering to those who are mobile gamers, especially considering the fact that more people around the world have smartphones than they do game systems. And I guess you see this with Google Stadia, because Google Stadia plans on having their service available through various mobile devices such as Android phones for those who own Samsungs and all that. And then I believe Microsoft, for a while they've been talking about moving away from consoles and console gaming. And I remember back in 2017 there was speculation on the Xbox One X being the final game console that Microsoft produces, but it seems like Project Scarlet, whatever that is, like that might be the final game system that Microsoft gives us before fully going to streaming and moving on to cloud-based services on mobile devices and all that stuff, where gaming is more convenient and gaming is more accessible, especially to those who are casual gamers, because those are the ones who that's where all the money is at. And those are the ones who will actually tune in to basically buy their product if it's something that's convenient for them, if it's something they can play on the fly. Because nowadays a lot of people really aren't into spending tons of money buying consoles and purchasing games that are overpriced, that I guess you have to pay for DLC, and you have to pay for subscriptions, like every, whether it be monthly or annual subscriptions, all that. The cost of gaming has become way more expensive throughout the past decade than it was in the 2000s or the 90s or even the 80s. So basically, a lot of people just aren't really into buying consoles nowadays. There are a lot of hardcore gamers who still will buy, consoles and all that stuff. But for the most part, a lot of people are very busy. They got to work. They got to, there's always something they got to do. So, them having their smartphones with them at all times just make it easier for them to have a unique and fun gaming experience. So, as far as how well the PS5 is going to do once it's released later in 2020, that is, if it doesn't get pushed back, who knows? But seeing that the PlayStation 5 is the final, or it might be the final console that Sony gives us, there might be a lot of people who might buy it, and I guess for the next year or two, pretty much the sales will be better than what many people would have expected or anticipated. Or it could be something that turns around and flops because a lot of people just don't feel like paying that kind of money for a game system that they will barely get any time to play. So we'll just have to wait and see, and it'll be interesting to see and know how popular and how successful the PlayStation 5 does throughout 2021, 2022, and throughout the rest of the 20s decade in general.